It is July 22nd. Welcome on in to Daily Cards Live here on ClaibsOnline.com. I'm Joe Roderick, joined alongside by Bob Ramsey, and we are brought to you each and every day by Royal Banks of Missouri and Mungenast St. Louis Acura. Rammer Cardinals played a doubleheader on Saturday, won on Sunday, and took 2 of 3 from the wild card leading Braves. A really good way to start the second half of the season.
Yeah, first game of the series was a little bit of a dud. I was a little surprised at bullpen usage, but I see how they're in the moment, but I see how they're shifting things around and trying to spread out some of the workload. That was kind of a typical loss for the Cardinals. And then they had a kind of a typical win in the nightcap and an atypical win on Sunday. But the kind of game that if you get everybody going, we've talked about this for 2 months, Joe, everybody going and sort of playing to their career averages, it could be a more normal game than it has been so far this year.
Yeah, and also too, they go out and they use Ryan Helsley in the ninth yesterday in a non-save situation. Case just needed to get him work.
He hadn't worked. When you do that, you're playing with fire. And sure enough, you'll need him 3 straight nights now, and he won't be available. But what's a manager to do? That's nobody's fault. You can't ask him to come in and strike out the side in a big game, in a one-run game when he hasn't pitched for 10 days. So trying to find that tipping point of enough rest and needing work has always been a dilemma for managers.
And you look at some of the other guys they need that with too. Jojo Romero didn't pitch in at all this weekend. You have a lot of guys.
That surprises me. I think they've lost a little faith in him.
Lost faith, or maybe there's something a little more to it that that maybe we don't know yet. Maybe they thought the rest of the All-Star break would do him well, and maybe they're thinking, okay, maybe a few other days. Maybe it's a case of some overwork right now. Nothing, no insight or anything. I'm just saying, I mean, it's really weird to not have him pitch him in those 3 games.
I thought so too.
There were opportunities for them.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that he slipped down the depth chart a little bit.
Well, now they have a bit of a dilemma these next couple of days. So you have Andre Palante starting tonight. You have Lance Lynn starting tomorrow. As of right now, Wednesday's starter is TBD. They have not announced it yet. I would go as far to say they don't know who's going to start yet, and I would say a lot of that has to do with how tonight's game goes. Which Andre Palante do you get? Are we going to see the one that goes 5 innings, 6 innings, and pitches really well, or the guy that's struggling to make it through the 3rd inning, and then you need to go with Matthew Liberatore tonight to kind of bridge that gap into the bullpen, and then kind of scramble to figure out who's going to pitch Wednesday?
Yeah, I think that's a great observation. And as Tony La Russa would say, good question, but I don't have to make that decision yet. Right. And that's why they've got to do it, because you don't know what's going to happen the next 2 nights and how it affects your bullpen.
Yeah. If you ask Ollie that today, I think you get another good La Russa quote out of him as an answer, and that's "ask me again in 3 hours." Yeah. If you ask him who his Wednesday starter is going to be. But yeah, first 3 games, good starts to start the second half of the year. You and I on Friday spent a lot of time talking about the potential of the Cardinals going after a guy like a Nathan Eovaldi from the Rangers. Bob Nightingale comes out with a report that kind of parrots what you were saying last week, Rammer, that the Cardinals have a very strong interest in White Sox right-hander Eric Fedde, the 31-year-old pitcher from the South Side. Another name to possibly add into the rotation.
Yeah, as you watched Sonny Gray pitch, if you could get somebody about that good, a little better, maybe not quite as good, but close, not dropping back to Michaelis Gibson level, but kind of in between and as close to Sonny Gray as you can, because I think the people that are concerned, how does this team set up pitching-wise for a postseason with a lot of work, not putting the cart ahead of the horse, but if you're going to make deals, it's got to be one that helps you now in October, because that's the whole point.
Yeah. He right now 7-3 on the season with a 2.99 ERA. You add that to Garrett Crochet in that rotation, and you wonder how the hell the White Sox are as historically bad this year as they are when you do have two starters that are putting up decent numbers at the front end of that rotation. 19 starts already on the season as well. A little bit surprised that the Cardinals didn't pick him up this offseason because he played in Korea last year. That seems to be a very Cardinal-esque move to go out and grab a guy that pitched overseas.
Well, but they already had guys they were more comfortable with, knowing what they'd get. They know they'd get strikeouts, but occasional blow-ups. They knew they'd get pitch to contact with occasional disasters from another guy. So, but at least one thing that managers hate, and I think many front office types hate, is the unknown. Mm-hmm. And they'd rather take something that is they know doesn't have a high ceiling, but they know what they got and going to plug it in, rather than a wild card who could be really, really good or a disaster. They don't want to deal with that. Whether it's a manager or the numbers people, they don't want to deal with the unknown.
So far this season, his walks are down based on his historical numbers. Strikeouts are up, and home runs are also down based on where he was during his first 6 seasons that he spent in Washington from 2017 to 2022. So having the best season of his career right now in the on the South Side, playing for the White Sox, who are not good. So that's probably saying even more than as far as his numbers go.
Yeah.
Currently, 7-game losing streak, Rammer. That is, by the way, another losing streak too. The Reds started off the second half of their season getting swept by the Marlins. So another team that is probably slipping into seller mode as we get closer to the trade deadline.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Outside of Jonathan India, I'm not sure who they have, but they probably do have
and
some
their
pitching.
Shortstop.
You know what? I don't think they're getting rid of Ellie De La Cruz. I don't think they're going to trade him away.
Oh, I thought you were saying guys they were going to keep. You're saying no. Guys to move.
Oh, I think Jonathan India is gone. I think they were looking to trade him in the offseason. I think that is a key piece they have to trade away.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's okay with me. I don't really care whether they sink or swim. So that's okay with me, but he's probably their second best player. So that would tell everybody, fans, media, the nation, everyone that we give up.
I think ownership has already told that and said that part out loud anyway a few times. Yeah. So I don't think it's much of a secret anymore.
India's a good player, though.
Yeah. Cardinals have Mitch Keller facing Mitch Keller tonight. Paul Skeens tomorrow. We'll talk more about Skeens' numbers on tomorrow's show. But Mitch Keller right now, the I guess veteran ace of their staff in Pittsburgh, and a guy that the Cardinals have actually hit pretty well over the years.
Yeah, and so with the offense appearing, well, it's not appearing, the last 6 weeks, maybe even closer to 7 weeks, the graph it's not skyrocketing, but it's moving up. Nootbaar really helps in the lineup. We see that Burleson since I was just looking at it. I think it's the last day of April, has been one of the best hitters in the game, in particular June and July. Contreras is really playing well still. Arenado is, I think, doing a nice job offensively. He's just become a different hitter than he used to be. But in my view, he's still not bad. And so I think lineup construction is going to be real interesting. They moved Goldschmidt down, appropriately so. Probably should have done it a couple of weeks ago. But, you have respect for a former MVP, a guy who will be in the Hall of Fame conversation. I'm not suggesting he's a Hall of Famer, but, that kind of a guy who's a veteran, it's hard to move them out of their customary spots, and they've been able to do that. I would tell you that I still don't love Burleson hitting second. I think he does more damage for you third or even fourth. And I think if they play against right-handers, I'd hit him third and Contreras fourth. And against lefties, I'd flip him and I'd put Donovan 2 behind Wynn. But we're still talking about the same group of 4 guys. So it really doesn't matter that much. It's just one of my little curious rabbit holes I like to go down.
In the month of July so far for Alec Burleson, hitting .358 with an OPS over 1,000 right now. I believe it's 1,040 is what he's at right now. In the month of June, 271 average with an OPS over 800. And so he's been consistent, as you mentioned, May and June, very consistent, hitting near 300 or over, at least over, around the 280 mark with an OPS around 800 both of those months, and it's absolutely just blown up so far in the month of July. Had a few people ask me over the weekend if he was legit, and I think one thing we have to remember is that he was on this roster all last year too. So whatever book there is on Alec Burleson, it's out. He's had enough at bats. He's had enough big league experience to where teams should know how to pitch him and where he's vulnerable. And Alec Burleson's still hitting it. So I think he has shown he's a legit big league hitter.
Well, he hit, what was it, 330, 340, whatever in AAA. And you wondered, well, maybe it's not going to translate. The guys on TV mentioned a conversation that he had with Matt Carpenter, and I'll paraphrase, so it's third-hand knowledge, but apparently said, hey, Alec, you can hit everything. But you'll probably be more successful if you pick out the right pitches to hit and be a little more selective. Is that a coincidence that he's gotten hot after the conversation? Perhaps, but if a veteran hitter who has the ear of a young guy and can plant real positive, to borrow from golf, swing thoughts, I think there's probably something to it.
Rammer, the Pirates lineup is out right now. No word on the Cardinals lineup just yet, but the Pirates, or at least Andre Palante, will be pitching against. And I just hit refresh, and I have the Cardinal lineup for you too. So Rammer, we have stalled enough to get both lineups for the game tonight. Very excited.
No stalling. I was giving you gold, baby, gold.
Andrew McCutchen leads off for the Pirates. He DHs, by the way, future Hall of Famer Andrew McCutchen.
I don't know what his totals are. I'd have to look him up.
Brian Reynolds, he is in left field. O'Neill Cruz at short. Nick Gonzalez at second. Rowdy Tellez at first. Key Brian Hayes at third. Jack Zawinski is in center. Connor Joe in right. And Joey Bart is behind the plate.
Rowdy Tellez has been really hot lately. Moved up in the lineup a little bit, and Zawinski killed the Cardinals at Busch Stadium. So keep an eye on those guys.
For the Cardinals, Mason Wynn leads off and plays short. Alec Burleson in right. Wilson Contreras DHs. Brendan Donovan in left. Nolan Arenado at third. Lars Nootbaar in center. Paul Goldschmidt at first. Nolan Gorman at second. And Pedro Pages gets the start tonight. He is behind the plate for Andre Palante. So there are your.
I don't like Donovan. I don't like Donovan hitting cleanup. Not
Who else though at this?
Not that he can't produce runs, Joe, but I think. And maybe I'm projecting, but I feel like when he's hitting cleanup, he gets a little bit of that hook, that swoop in his swing instead of going straight to the ball because he's trying to hit home runs. Hey, I'm the cleanup hitter. I'm probably way overstating it because he's been playing very well and he's one of my favorites.
At this, you've mentioned many times now that you don't like Alec Burleson hitting second. It's not that I don't like it. I just think he can be more productive if he was slotted down a little bit. So if you look at what else you could do with the lineup, I don't know how you feel about having to go left, right. Do you move Donovan up to second and bump everyone down? Do you move Donovan back to leadoff and have Wynn second, then Burleson, then Contreras?
Depends on how dependent you are on your right-left splits philosophy. The Cardinals, they talk about all the analytics, but whenever they've mentioned all these analytics, it always ends up just being right-left splits. It's really ridiculous because they've been doing that in the history throughout the game. We've got all these analytics. Oh, yeah, why'd you put them in? Well, the analytics said lefty versus righty. Okay. Yeah, thanks for turning the computer on. I never would have got that. anyway, off the soapbox. Yeah, you could go right, left with Contreras 3, but there's always the danger of having a 1-2-3 first inning and taking away a first inning opportunity away. I get that. If you don't care as much about a lefty in your opponent's bullpen at the top, going after the top of your order, you could go win with Burleson 3 and Donovan 2. Yeah. You have those two lefties together. That'd be okay. Or if you still insisted on right, left, put the guy who used to be the leadoff hitter in the leadoff spot, Donovan, and win hit 2. Yeah. So there's a lot of different things you can do. But again, I want to emphasize, I'm not outraged, because in the end, you've got those 4 hitters who are killing it, and you could probably pull them out of a hat, and the difference would probably be negligible, if at all.
I wonder if another 2 weeks of hot hitting from Burleson forces Ollie to make a bit of a tweak to that lineup and try to get a little more production out of the top there. I wonder if but you also need somebody that's going to step up and also be able to hit in front of them too. You can't just randomly say, okay, Lars Nootbaar, you're going to hit leadoff now. You can't. Yeah.
And that's why Donovan, I like Donovan either first or second.
Yeah.
And if Nootbaar can get hot, he's another candidate. But the whole point is lengthen the lineup with guys producing. And if they do that, the lineup will take care of itself.
We will talk tomorrow about Paul Skeens starting against the Cardinals, his first start since the All-Star game. Yes, Rammer?
I don't know. On Claib's Online, you're allowed to get into politics, Joe. What do you and you can like the head of Secret Service told the Senate committee today that you have no knowledge of it. But did you see a couple of players in the big leagues after hitting bombs gave it the pump, fight?
I did. I saw that, and I also saw the Cardinals. There were people that were wondering what the Cardinals celebration was about yesterday. If you hadn't seen Derek Gould's tweet on it yet, the Cardinals claimed that their celebration of the holding the ear and the hand up was for DJ Biscuit, which is Alec Burleson's clubhouse name. I guess he's been in charge of the music lately in the locker room. So Matt Carpenter said it was in no way political.
That? You buying that, or is it a cover up?
Everything's a cover-up.
I have no idea, but cover-ups are far more entertaining.
Right. Save that for your on-air shift here in an hour and a half, Rammer.
Okay.
Hey, we're brought to you each and every day by Munganast St. Louis Acura and also Royal Banks.
Royal Banks of Missouri. Whether you're in St. Louis, St. Charles County, the East Side in Jerseyville and Granite, or in Northeast Missouri in 3 newer locations, each and every branch feels like your hometown bank. Royal Banks of Missouri, where better service means better banking. Member FDIC, and an equal opportunity lender.
He's Bob Ramsey. I'm Joe Roderick. Talk to you tomorrow right here on Daily Cards Live.
Munganast St. Louis Acura is making room for the 2025 MDX, so that means great deals for you on the 2024 MDX. We have over 100 2024 MDX models in stock, and you get financing as low as 3.9% for up to 60 months. Or you can lease a new MDX for just $559 per month for 36 months. Or get the MDX technology model for just $589 per month for 36 months. Munganast St. Louis Acura, better than ever for you.